Welcome to Graya Load. I'm Anthony, and Intel's finally rounded out the rest of their ninth generation CPU lineup. We got the ninth generation Intel Core CPUs last year, and now Intel is finally going through and rounding out the rest of the lineup. And as you can see here, I'm going to start with the desktop processors and end with the mobile here. I find mobile to be a little bit more interesting, as we've already had the i9-9900K in the desktop, as well as the i7-9700K, etc. And the K means that you can overclock it. Intel also announced the KF, which is overclockable and without graphics. However, now Intel, as you can see from their data sheet here, is that they got the i9-9900, they got the i7-9700, 9700F now, so that's not overclockable and without graphics. And these can, the 9900 can hit 5 gigahertz. There's an asterisk there and stuff like that. But these are ones you can't overclock. So if you have a board that you just can't overclock on, or you want to go with these, that's an option there too. Prices, as you can see on here, are like for the 9900 are like 4. So a little bit of price discount there for each of these segments. But as you go through it, you get the i5 9500. 9500F, and you keep going down, you get the i3, and then you get a few more little options here in the i3 segment. And a lot of these here in the segment are just strict cores and threads or parity, so they're equal to each other. 4 cores, 4 threads. It was the 9900 where you're paying extra for those hyper-threaded cores. And I find it kind of interesting because Intel seemed to have gone down that road of a lot of, the denotation between hyperthreading and not hyperthreading, even though it was a big thing back in the day to have hyperthreading on Intel processors. So now they're coming back and charging a premium for it. Maybe somebody out there, I can't, put together 2 Intel systems right now, but to test out, one with hyperthreading, one without, or just what the differences are, even if you just disable hyperthreading on those systems, if you have 8 true cores versus 8 cores and 16 threads. But then what they also did is that they came out with all their I core series with the T suffix. So now you have the i9-9900T, and these are lower power, so 35 watt thermal design in all of these, all the way through i9 through i3. As you can see here, you get another little option there. I think Intel's really capitalizing on the i9-9900. So hey, I get an i9 in my little T series low powered stuff, and they can do it even though it's probably more equivalent to something else on there. But you get your 8 threads and 16 cores if you want to pay that premium for the i9-9900. Otherwise, you jump down 8 cores, 8 threads for the 9700T from the i7. But then we get into the low end of the Pentiums and the Celerons. And if you want hyperthreading of 2 cores and 4 threads, you're buying a Pentium. If you just want 2 cores and 2 threads, you're buying the Celeron. Now, from a gaming aspect, because I talk a lot about gaming on this channel, as I'm going to focus on that for a second here, the 2 cores, 4 threads, probably something that you probably want to at least get yourself into an i3, 4 cores, 4 threads. And that's where our starting point is. I think the 2 cores, 4 threads is kind of, working its way out. Probably need to focus on the 4 cores, 4 threads and go up from there if you're looking at gaming segment. However, these Pentiums may, have a nice little segment of something low powered. I guess the thermal designs on these, you've even seeing them, some of them are in the 50s and 35s, where you can get some competing products, or some the T series ones, you can find those in a form factor that works for you. Might be a better option. So they're out there. Intel, from what I've heard, is Intel really skipped over this really fast when they were announcing these, and they really focused on the mobile side. And I find the mobile side way more interesting. So if I jump over to the mobile side, they have the i9-9980HK, and that's going to be their top of line one. 2.4 gigahertz base clock, 5 gigahertz boost, 8 cores, 16 threads. And these processors really mimic kind of what is on the desktop side. You have your i7-9880H, which is also 8 cores, 16 threads, 4.8 boost. i7 9850H. Now, I don't understand why they don't have like the same naming scheme here, but we'll just leave it at B. Maybe that'll be ironed out here. But 6 cores, 12 threads for the i7, so you get hyper-threading in the laptop. You don't get hyper-threading on the desktop side. And then that goes down to, then when you jump down to i5, as you can see here, 4 cores and 8 threads, all in a 45 watt thermal design power. So there's that to keep in mind. And what I really like to see here is how Intel's going to basically capitalize on this. Intel's going after that mobile market quite hard. I mean, AMD has some compelling products, but they're only 4 cores and 8 threads. And I think that AMD really, this generation, they've already announced their Ryzen mobile stuff. Yeah, they have some really great stuff, more design wins out there than ever before. But you have this to compete with, where you're getting 8 core, 16 threads versus what AMD has out there. And AMD really needs to widen their spectrum of processors in the mobile side. And that's one weakness AMD has right now in the CPU team. And that's going to be really interesting to go there. So Intel has an opportunity to really capitalize on it. As for the desktop side as Intel, you can kind of see that Intel's was trying to get out there on top of AMD with the 8 cores, 8 threads, Ryzen CPUs that were already out there. They released that 9900K, and they're just rounding the rest of it out, trying to make this all 9th generation. Maybe they're starting to catch up on a little bit of capacity, and they can manufacture more of those, or just over time, a lot of these chips are just, binning where they are binning. Only 2 threads work here, only 2 cores work over, etc. And they're just being able to fill this all out so that people can more now use it as well. Or, OEMs, or even you can sell them as separate processors so that people can then just grab them and use them. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how Intel goes out the rest of the year, because they're just rounding this out. And I feel like they need a couple months with this before they announce their next one, if they're going to have to compete with AMD on another level when AMD comes out with their Ryzen, their next generation CPUs that are just rumored to be around the horizon here. And that's going to be the interesting part, I think, is how these all match up. I think their mobile side is going to be great, especially for gamers, want a gaming laptop. Granted, you're still restricted by thermals. I still like my desktop for gaming. But even console, nice. But for those people that need a laptop to game or just move around a lot, there are going to be some great options here, especially if you have some great cooling, 8 core, 16 threads, 5 gigahertz, even a mobile rendering machine if you do video editing, video work, could be a great option here. Their desktop stuff, I can see why they skipped over it. Not really exciting right now, and hopefully Intel can really turn it around. I'm probably going to do something more on Intel here in probably next couple weeks, because I've been working on some stuff and looking at it, and I'm just really interested, with the leaked roadmaps that, what was it, Tweakers or Tweaknet or somebody that had released there. Sorry if I'm not remember the name exactly, but a lot of 14 nanometer stuff, right? These processors are still on 14 nanometer, no 10 nanometer yet, and I think Intel, we're really waiting on that 10 nanometer, get all that new architecture out that Intel's been working on, if they've been working on it, and see where performance can go, and hopefully, have a greater competition here, because right now it just seems like Intel's just kind of going along, maintaining a little bit, and not really going after AMD. We'll see what they do on the desktop, but on the laptop side, they're really hitting AMD hard, coming out with these processors, and I like that. I hope AMD can go and still compete, push Intel a little bit more. We could have some really interesting mobile form factors here in the future, probably hopefully even better for gaming, for those that just want to sit and have a mobile gaming space wherever they are. So with that, I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to help support this channel and helping it grow. Let me know what your thoughts are on these new i9 processors. Are you just not as enthused as I am with the desktop ones, or are you enthused about the mobile ones like I am? I like this higher core count in the mobile space, but desktop's just not doing it for me. So with that, thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to help support this channel, helping it grow. And until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.